So, first of all, a very, very hearty welcome to everyone who has taken time out today to join this webinar. And I hope that we are making good use of this time. We've got 1.5 hours to understand the complete concept of PBL. And before we go ahead, let me just tell you about what are the ground rules for today. First important thing is that you have to keep yourself muted all the time. Okay, so please see that you are muted so that there is no disturbance when the session is going on. However, you can unmute yourself when you have to ask questions, but please remember that you mute yourself once again. Okay? The second important thing is that if you are not sitting with a notebook and a pen, I would suggest that please sit with a notebook and a pen. You will need it in between. Monica ji, please mute yourself. There is a problem with your audio. Please mute yourself. Monica ji, please mute yourself. Yes. And keep yourself muted. Audio as well as, yeah. Video you can put on, but you have to mute yourself. Okay. Now, the second important thing is that, in fact, the third one is that there will be time wherein I will ask you all to ask your questions. So in case if there are some questions which come to your mind while the session is in progress, you can jot it down. And when I stop for questions, that's the time you can ask your questions. Also, there are some activities in which I would suggest or anticipate that you all participate wholeheartedly. There is no judgment on any kind of a performance, so please don't worry about it. And also, because while the session is going on, I do not really access the chat box so frequently. So please use the chat box only if it is very, very important. Otherwise, don't use the chat box. Okay? Because that's the reason that I keep the numbers very, very limited in the webinar. And so we can go in for good amount of interaction. So don't worry, as soon as there is anything which comes to your mind and you would like to ask, it's better to ask verbally than to write it in the chat box. All right, so with everybody's permission, let's begin. Directly start off with our things. What are our objectives for today? We are aiming at exploring the concept of project-based learning. First thing, what is that concept? Second is identifying the key elements of a good project. Then enlisting the stepwise method of developing a PBL model. How is it that we progress? And then reviewing some of the PBL projects in action. So I'll be showing you examples of some of the PBL projects. Just give me a second, please. Okay, so some of the PBL projects is what you are going to be seeing. And then we'll also see that how do we use differentiated instructions during our PBL classes. Not classes, I would say during the whole duration when we are doing the project-based learning, how are differentiated instructions used. Also, we will try and see that what are the various challenges you will face while doing this. We'll also get acquainted to a lot of PBL resources which are existing. And then how do we integrate the artifacts and things related to the projects in our digital portfolio. So these are some of our main objectives of today, and if time permits, we will also discuss about one of the project which I've created. Another is which we can together create, but that depends upon how much time do we have. Okay, so all of you already have on your WhatsApp the link of Padlet. My first question to you is that what according to you is project-based learning? Whatever you feel comes to your mind, what according to you is project-based learning? Please put it on the Padlet and I'll share the Padlet with you. On the screen you can see whatever you write, you will be able to see it on the screen. Mr. Amit Kaur is the quickest to write here. I can see the contributions already that started coming in. Take your time. We have got 2 minutes wherein you can write down whatever you want to. Very nice. I can see Sapna writing learning through the project. Okay, great. Assigning a case study or a problem to the students to work upon its root cause and then collaborating in groups to reflect upon their research and working on its solution. Great, Harmeen. That's huge contribution that you have made for project-based learning. Give projects to the students. Giving projects to the students without using books, okay? Deeper knowledge through active exploration. All right. Yes, Shweta. That's right. Learning by applying the concepts in real world. Excellent, Vani. Hands-on experiential learning. Yes, that's a part. Active learning and inquiry-based learning. Absolutely. All of you are writing absolutely the right things about project-based learning. Something that begins with the beginning and ends with the implementation, okay? Comprehensive, it's comprehensive, all right. Rowley writes it's inquiry driven, yes, it's inquiry driven. Learning by doing.
कंप्यूटर को कनेक्ट कर दीजिए ना.
Nusrat, you need to mute yourself, please. Please don't write your answers in the chat box. There is already a Padlet. So please write your answers in the Padlet, not the chat box. I have already given the link on the WhatsApp group. If you want, I can resend the link so that it's easier for you. I've resent the link for those who have not got it. You just have to click on that link, click on the plus button and start writing. Okay, let me see if there are no. Active, explore real world problems and challenges and acquire a deeper knowledge. Absolutely, absolutely. Perfect. Okay. 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 I'll just wait for another 30 seconds in case there are more contributions which are coming in. Inquiry-based learning and research-based studies, absolutely, Ms. Deepthi, it is research-based. Learning with researching and inquiring, okay, great. Navkiran writes, actively explore real-world problems and challenges and acquire a deeper knowledge. I think I read this. Okay. All right, Nupur, the latest entry is to make students feel the interest in learning and making projects accordingly. Least paper learning and more of doing. Okay, yes. All right, fine. So thank you so much for your contributions and we'll go back now. Okay, all of you can see my PPT now? Yeah, okay. So what I can gather from what all of you have been writing is some certain common things were there. One is that it is inquiry driven, it has research involved in it, it's more experiential in nature, there is a lot of doing in this, deeper knowledge and deeper understanding is there. So this is absolutely what happens in project-based learning, and let's try to see what more is there in project-based learning. Okay. So project-based learning is different from simply doing a project. So we all have been doing projects with our students from so many years, and generally what happens is that children, when they stick certain things, some pictures on their notebooks, and then write something about it, research something from the internet, create something, and that is what we say is the project, right? But the fact is that it's much different. When we are saying project-based learning, it is much different from just doing a simple project. Okay, so what's the difference over here? Let's see. So it's project-based learning is basically learning through projects. Learning which is happening while the children are undergoing or taking up the activities related to the projects, rather than certain learning which is culminating into a project, which means that you've taught them something, and that whatever you have taught them is now put up in the form of project. That's what was the traditional projects like, but it's not. Children are learning through the projects. They are not learning through you and putting it into a form of a project, but they are learning themselves while they are into the project work. So that's the difference. Second difference is that there is student choice in the design. Whatever the children are designing, it is based upon the student's own choice. So there is flexibility over here, and instead of teacher creating all the instructions, it's not something which is teacher driven. It is not that the teacher is instructing and saying now do this, now do that, now do this, now do that. No, it's something which is governed by the students. Then project-based learning is more about student inquiry, which almost everybody has written that it has inquiry integrated into it. So students are inquiring, constantly inquiring in it. Rather than there are some pre-planned questions which have already been given to the students and they are trying to search the answers of that. No, it's not pre-planned. It is something which happens by the students. They are making the inquiry. Okay. Then the next is that project-based learning, its students are active in the assessment. Here what happens is that while the project is going on, in the process of doing all of these things, there are many places where assessments are taken, and in that the students play a very active role, which means that there is a lot of self-assessment and peer assessment which takes place in the process, rather than just teacher assessing all the work. So that's the difference. Then it's also the student's ownership of the process. In project-based learning, the process, as we studied earlier, that there is a student's choice over there. The process is owned by the students rather than teacher owning the process. Rather than teacher directing it, it is the students who are doing it. Okay. So that's the basic difference between what is project-based learning and what a traditional kind of a project looks like. So that's the basic difference. And now let's also understand what are the design elements, the project design elements. These are the elements which you should definitely see that your projects, all your projects, whatever subjects, whatever grade you are doing it for, all of these design elements should be present in the project-based learning. Right now, I'm just introducing you these words, and then later on, we'll study this in detail. So what are the project design elements? The first one is challenging problem or a question, okay? Which means that any project-based learning, it only will start, and it will not start until and unless you have a problem in hand or you have some challenging question in hand. It's important. Okay, we will not be able to start it. So it definitely begins with a question. Somebody had written that it begins with a beginning. So I'll say it begins with a beginning and ends with an implementation. So that will make it complete. So it begins with a question. It begins with some or the other kind of a challenging problem. That's important to understand. Then the second design element is sustained inquiry. When we are saying sustained inquiry, which means that every step that the child is moving ahead in the project, and remember, PBL is not something which has to be done in 1 period, 2 period, 3 periods. It is something which takes a little longer duration, right? So therefore, you have to see that throughout that time when the children are working upon it, there is sustained inquiry. Continuously, the children are asking questions and trying to figure out the answers to it. Then the next design element is authenticity. Now, what do we mean by authenticity here? Any project that they are working on should have relevance to the real life, should be meaningful for them. It should be something which they feel that yes, it's useful that they are doing it. So therefore, authenticity is absolutely important. Whenever you're doing any project, don't just do it because you have to do it, but see whether it's really solving some kind of a problem. Is it really meaningful for the students? Are they really going to get something out of it? Only then it will become authentic. The next thing is student voice and choice. So when we are saying student voice and choice means there is lot of hearing of the students. There are a lot of conversations which go on between the students, student and the teachers, students and the community, students in so many other places. So there is a lot of student voice. Okay, and there is choice. The choice means the students have a lot of choice as to which way they would like the project to be driven, which way would they like to have their presentations and so on. So there is, again, as I said, flexibility is there. Students will have the voice in the project and they will have the choice there. Okay, so that's the fourth design element. Fifth, again, very important, is reflection. Again, it is interwoven in during the process of the PBL that reflections at various places happen. Either the children are individually reflecting or they are reflecting in the group, but they are reflecting continuously upon the progress of their project. The next design element is critique and revision, which means every time that they are coming out with some of the other finding, it is critiqued. Critique means it's the group which sits together, ponders on it, tries to see, tries to figure out or pull out the problems from this, gives the feedback, and based upon whatever feedback comes, it is revised. So that's another important aspect of PBL. And then last and very, very important thing is that it has to culminate into some kind of a public product. Okay, it has to be something which can be displayed to the public. So that's another important thing of a PBL. So these are the 7 design elements which we should always ensure. If there is even one design element which is missing, our PBL is incomplete. Okay, and also we have to see that they go very, very well with the other pedagogical models like inquiry-based learning. You know that there is sustained inquiry in this. It's an inquiry-based learning. If all those who know about inquiry-based learning, we have studied about the 5 P's. And there is a process which you follow while you are doing an inquiry-based learning. And here also there is a lot of inquiry which is taking place and almost similar procedure is followed. However, inquiry-based learning may stop somewhere, but this goes a little further. Then problem-based learning. So problem-based learning is also about that there is a problem and then you, based upon that problem, solving that problem, you are doing your learning, right? And then design thinking. So all those who know about what design thinking is, you know that whatever process I told and whatever sequence of events that I told you about PBL, design thinking is something which is directly related to real world problem and the solution to the real world problem which the children come out with. Okay, and then there is a process to that design thinking. So all of these 3 different kinds of learning or pedagogical models are incorporated in your project-based learning. So if you understand project-based learning, for you to do all of these 3 things are not difficult. Okay, so you're studying project-based learning, but you're also studying 3 other pedagogical models. Okay, so now let's see what is the step-by-step process of PBL. After this slide, I'll give a small break for you all to ask your questions. Okay, so the first thing is that you need to have a question with you. One very solid, strong question has to be there or a problem needs to be there. So think of a challenge or a problem or a big question, but please see that it should be related to the real life and meaningful. Okay, so that's very important. That's the beginning, starting point. Then the second thing is you have to see that while the children are doing this project, what are those learning objectives that you are aiming at? Now, there are two kinds of objectives. One learning objective is directly related to your subject, which means that which conceptual knowledge are they going to acquire while they are doing this PPL. Okay, so your cognitive objectives is something which will come over here. So you have to see that what objective is being fulfilled when the children are taking this PPL. So that's important. While you're framing, while you're creating your PPL model, you have to have your learning objectives very, very clearly stated. And second important thing is, what are those skills which the children will be enhancing in this entire process, or which skills are they going to employ? So you have to be putting that also in the form of learning objectives, right? So first thing, big question. Second thing, learning objectives, and what skills are they going to enhance? Now, the next thing is, while you're designing your PBL, how is it that you are going to introduce this to your students? So there has to be an entry event. Now, what is this entry event? Entry event is that you have to, bring your children or induct your children into PPL. So how can you be doing it? Miss Monica, please put it on mute. Miss Monica, please put your audio on mute. I have muted you right now, but please see that it does not get unmuted. Thank you. Okay. Now, so what is that entry event which you can design? The entry event is that you can have any introductory video which will set them thinking, or there are some pictures which you would like to show them and ask them to contribute or think about it. It could be a story that you would like to tell. It could be a field trip that you would like to take them to first to initiate them into that thought. And then it could be some articles or some facts which are related to that problem which you would like to give, or simply just open it for brainstorming. Put your question there and open it for brainstorming, right? So anything, any of these things or anything more which comes to your mind, you have to design your entry event, because there is when you will make your children interested into doing that particular project. Okay. Then the next step comes is need to knows. Now, what are those things which the children should definitely know before they really set into this project, right? So here what happens is that within groups, you can form the groups of the students. Within their groups, they then discuss about, if this is a question, then what are those things which we need to know? To begin solving these questions, what are those important data, facts, figures, or things which we should definitely know before we embark into this project, right? So that comes as after your entry event. Then you have to see that children within their groups, they start working on finding the solutions to those need to know questions. All those questions which they have written, that these are the things which they want to know, they have to then collect the data. Based on that, they have to research upon and they have to analyze their data. And there is at the right point, and that depends upon you, what is the right point of your project, introduce an expert. Related to your project, try to bring in some expert who can interact with your students. Okay, so right now it could be a virtual expert. You can bring them to a Zoom meeting and let the students talk to that expert. So the expert brings in the real field knowledge to the students. Okay, then it's also important that you are telling them about the resources. Okay, what are those various resources? So you should know from where all the children will be gathering the data. You don't have to immediately tell them about things. Let them come inquire, and you just have to facilitate things for them. So you, at your own end, should have a lot of resources ready for that particular project. Then finally, what happens is that the children will then work upon the product. Okay, whatever solution they have come out with, so they have to now put it in the form of a product. Now, what kind of a product can they put? So children will come out with the creations of their own choice, okay, based upon how they would like to do it. It could be a small video, it could be a campaign, it could be a model that they design, some posters, newsletters, TV show, podcast, anything related to music, art, drama, combination of all of these things. It depends upon in which way would they like the product to be coming out. It also depends upon your project, that what is the kind of product which is expected. Okay. And then last, but it is very important, very, very important, that they have to do their presentation, not just in front of the class, not just in front of you as a teacher or their peers. They have to do that presentation in front of the live audience for whom that solution matters, right? So you have to showcase their work, or the children should get the opportunity to showcase their work on at the right platform to the right kind of audience, right? So these are 10 very, very important points which we need to consider while we are doing PBL. Okay. Before I share some of the resources of PBL with you, I would like to stop for a minute and take some questions. There would be some questions which would be coming to your mind. So you can please ask those questions.
Hi, Rupam. Can I ask questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Rupam, actually, I'm speaking for the senior students. So, for example, if they are involved in a PBL, how much should they be involved in the objectives and the process that, we need to do? I mean, do you think there should be a partnership there, or they should be, totally into, their own research?
Okay, that's a good question. See, objectives is something which the teachers should think about it beforehand. Because you have to see that as the project proceeds, what are the various things, or what are those cognitive objectives which you are achieving. Because if you have not worked upon the objectives, then it is going to go haywire. So therefore, objectives is something which the teacher needs to work upon, and then you can always share that objectives with your students. But the process is something wherein the partnership is absolutely needed. Okay, because see, you have to acquire the role of a facilitator. You are not the first one to speak. You are the last one to give your inputs. So please remember, while you're doing PBL, take the student's opinion as much as possible, and then give in your inputs absolutely at the end, right? So the partnership begins right from the very beginning. But while you're designing your PBL, you have to have your objectives very clear in your own mind. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to ask about this question. How to frame a question? That is a big thing in PBL.
Yes.
How to frame the right type of question?
Absolutely. So towards the end, I have framed a lot of different questions for different subjects. You can pick and choose from those. And if you will see, I just sat for maybe 10 minutes and then came out with all of these questions. So if you'll sit for 20 minutes, you'll come out with, I think, 20 different questions related to your subject. So it's not difficult. It's only the right way of thinking, that how do you generate the real-time challenges for your students. Okay? And also,
Thank you.
I will be sharing resources, very specific PBL resources with you. That will also give you a lot of idea about it. Okay? All right. Any other question with anyone before I go ahead?
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, please. Yeah.
One other thing is that, when we deal with the PBL, there is also like a lot of free time licensing and everything involved.
Yes.
So what should be the ideal time for one project, let's say roughly speaking? So if we initiate the project, and what should be the somewhat ideal duration or hours?
It can proceed from a month to 4 months, 5 months as well. Depends upon what your project is, because it actually runs into 3 to 4 weeks normally. The minimum duration of the project, if I have to say. But then it can extend further as well, because there's a lot of things which the children have to do: research, create, collaborate. So it takes time, and it should be something which is like a good, enjoyable thing for the students, isn't it? So if you put the pressure of the time out there, then it becomes a little difficult. So I think project is something that should be spread over a period of, say, maybe 2 months, 3 months. If you want, you can do like that. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. So what I'll do is, and now I'll take you all to the ideas for PBL. Okay. So I am going to be sharing a link with you. And in that link, you will find there are a lot of videos. and each video is talking about a particular PBL project. And I have also listed over there for which class it is, for which subject it is. So depending upon your interest in your subject, you can click on that particular video and start viewing it. The time which I'm giving to you for this is 12 minutes. The video ranges from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. So I am giving you 10 minutes plus 2 minutes. So you can just view videos. If you can view 2 videos during this duration, good. Otherwise, this link will remain with you. You can view all the videos later on. Okay, so just give me a second and I'll share that link. Okay, so you can click on this link. Once you click, you will find a lot of videos coming up and you can now view it. 10 minutes from now, it is 4:30. We will meet at 4:42. I am here. In case if you have any doubts, you can always come back in the main session and ask me questions. Otherwise, you can just keep viewing your videos. Okay?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, this is Amit Kaur.
Yeah.
Ha, ma'am, I have one query.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just saw one video, ma'am. Actually, I just want to know, as these days we are teaching online, so how can we use PBL in online mode?
Yeah, I'll cover that. Don't worry. Okay, that will be coming up.
Okay.
Don't worry. Yeah. Just view the video first right now.
Hello. I can't see the video. I really don't know.
If you click on the link, Monica, the link which I have shared, if you tap, there will be a lot of videos which will open up. We can choose the one which is of your choice and then watch the video.
वो क्यों जाता है ये बात? पानी पिलाइए बेटा.
Please keep yourself muted. Monica, what is the problem? I've been asking you. Please keep yourself muted. right, 12 minutes are over. May I have everybody back, please? Please come back. This link is going to remain with you, so you can always see it whenever you want. All of these videos will always be available to you. Can I have everyone back?
Rupa,
Yeah.
is it just a matter of coincidence that most of the videos are from the middle and the primary department, or is it like, it is more successful in those?
No, no, it's there for kindergarten, class 2, class 3, primary. I put one from each section. I've tried
Okay.
to put it for science
Yeah.
also, social science also,
Yeah.
computer science, whatever was the demand, I have put it like that. So
Just asking, yeah.
it works very well in kindergarten as well.
I think
Yes.
second last video was of class 12 electromagnetism was there.
Pardon, Shamli?
Second last video.
I'm not able to hear you, Shamli. There's some problem.
The physics video was for class 12th, ma'am.
Second last video was making the guitar.
Yeah, that was for physics. That was physics, and there was one for class 11, 12 mathematics as well. I mean, senior class mathematics also.
Yeah,
Yes.
chemistry also.
Okay, great. So now that you've seen all of these, at least one of the video, so you would have seen that whenever the teacher began with a question. And there was, for everybody, there was an entry event which was planned, right? And how many, who saw the fan fiction thing? Fan fiction was something which I was really amazed to see. Did anyone see the fan fiction?
I did. I mean, I teach English, so I saw that one only.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was
Being
so
IT
fabulous.
yes, I saw that.
Yes. In fact, if you see the fan fiction, it has almost all the elements of language teaching that you would like. A lot of writing things are required over there, and a lot of technology. So, so it's like a combination of English language teaching as well as computer science. And this also, at this point only, let me tell you that when we are talking about projects, they do not generally work in isolation. It is always good that we plan interdisciplinary projects. So that will be very nice. If you can collaborate with other subject teachers, and if you can plan out projects wherein the other subject teachers' learning objectives are also fulfilled and your learning objectives are also fulfilled, and all of that is possible. So, so we'll also talk a little about the interdisciplinary projects. But before that, what I would like you all to do is to check out the resources. Okay. So, this is the website, which is a huge resource of PBL. Okay. So I'll just take you through this so that you know about all the aspects of how to explore this website. This is my PBL works, and this is from the Buck Institute for Education, and they have uploaded right now. I'm there on their projects page. So if you come to this projects page, you will find that there are 32 different projects which are for English language. Then 7 for fine arts, 3 for physical education, 19 projects for mathematics, 22 for science, 19 for social science, and then STEM together included, and then different world languages. And then there are, it is also categorized based upon the grade levels. So whatever you want, and then within the English language teaching, it's about literature, international text, writing, speaking, listening, and so on. So it's also divided over here. Mathematics, and so you can just explore it on the basis, you can search out the topics which you want. And then as you see over here, like it's marking history and making history, right? So this is a social studies project. If you see shrinking our footprints, science and maths project, and so on. So it is also writing over here that what are the two things mixed together here, maths and English, making your own grade. How to do? So the question is written over here. Right in the beginning, there is a question you see. How can we as historians uncover and share stories about our community?
मेरे को पानी पिला दे कौन
Whose audio is not muted here? Please check it out, because that's a disturbance. Please be very careful about your audio. Okay, and then shrinking our footprints, that's science and maths together, changing the world, one poem at a time, English language teaching, Now, I'll just take you through any one of these. Now, if you see starting a business, it's maths and social science together. How can we affect hunger in our community? Language teaching, plastics, science and language teaching. In fact, language comes everywhere, right? So, now if I just take you through any one of this, let's say the first one here, how much in detail the project has been planned. And this is what is expected from us also. This is for language, grades 9 to 12, okay? And it's, see, over here, it's the, first of all, what's the project summary? What is that which you're expecting? So I'll just do it very quickly. So in this project, students create video montages of social justice poetry. Each student chooses a social justice poem and analyzes the elements of content and craft that make it powerful and effective. Students find or create accompanying images that enhance their selected poem's meaning and record an expressive oral performance of the poem. This is not just all. Further, also there is what is that which the teams are going to do in collaboration and so. So it's the project summary which is written. Whatever the teacher feels that the students are going to be working upon overall. And then what are the learning goals? So here the learning goals, which means whatever are your learning outcomes, are written over here. So you can just think about what different learning outcomes will be achieved once the children are going through this project. And then what is the key vocabulary? What are those important words which the children are going to learn while they're doing this project? What are the major products which will be coming out individually as well as a whole class product? Okay. And how will you make it public? What is it? What is that public event that you're going to do? What are the considerations? What will you consider about your students? What will you consider about the context? And what will you consider about the content and the skills, right? And this one is far more in detail, that it has the project milestones also. What's the first milestone? What's the second milestone? This one is the most detailed project, in fact, which I could found. And so it is distributed in terms of milestones as well. So likewise, you will find that there are so many different project details which are given. Now, you don't have to definitely go according to what they have done, but you will get a lot of ideas from them. This is not all. I'll tell you from where did I take the videos. Okay, so as you go scroll further down, you will find here project resources. Okay, so when you click on this, there are 126 results of this. There are articles and their planning tools, and I'll tell you what are those important things which you should definitely look at. Along with that, there are project videos. Now let's see here. Just see, articles, 6 articles, 38 project videos. I have taken project videos from here. Okay. And then there are other videos which are available which are related to the project's planning. Okay. Then planning tools are given, formats are given, rubrics are given, strategy guides are given, and student handouts are given. Okay. Now I'll just take you through the strategy guides. So here you have to see preparing and conducting interviews. How would you help out your children to plan and conduct interviews? In case if you want, there is a PDF which is there. Just download the PDF, read the PDF, and you will be able to guide your students towards it. Let's go back. Likewise, there is PDF for all. How will you make your children reflect? Okay, so what format would you need? What questions will you ask? Creating and using norms to build effective culture. Post-project reflection and feedback from students. Again, how would you do it? Working with outside experts. Audience feedback form. Once you're presenting it to the public. What are the critique protocols? While the critiquing is going on, what protocols needs to be followed? So that's also given over here. How would you use rubrics? Okay. How will you manage your work time? How will you use exit tickets? Exit tickets, I think by now everybody knows. So what is the guideline for using exit tickets? Learning log. So all of this, it is so beautifully designed website. It has so much of content and in fact there is a huge work which is being going, I think all over the world. This is one organization which has worked really hard on PBL, and they have got huge resources over here. So you can, whatever you want, you can just go through all of these download all of these PDFs and keep it with you, and then keep on referring as and when you want it. Okay. So this is another thing which you should definitely see, and then we come on to rubrics. Okay. So let's check out the rubrics. Let me uncheck the strategy guides. Yes. So we'll have just the rubrics. So here we have the rubrics. How to use PBL works rubrics for success skills. When they're writing about the word success skills, they actually are saying that 21st century skills, and they call the 21st century skills as success skills. So how should we use rubrics to assess the skills in the students? Then presentation rubric, critical thinking rubric, creativity and innovation rubric, all of these things are available over here. So already made rubrics which you can teamwork rubrics see. So you really don't have to work so hard. You have got everything ready made out there. You have to use it, customize it according to your students, their level of skills and things, and then start using it right away. Okay, but use it. That's important. Okay. So here you find that this is the, I will also be sharing a PDF of this PPT with you, so that you have all the stuff with you. Don't keep on jotting down all of which is there in the PPT. It will be there with you. I'll be sharing this. So this is the website which you should explore if you are very serious in introducing PBL in your school. Okay. And then now let's think about what are the challenges in PBL. But before I discuss the challenges in PBL, there was a question which was there. There was one question which says, how often should we use PBL in our class? Is it that we should have to use it for every period? No. You can't do it, because this is something which is extensive. So PBL is something which should be limited to, maybe you can think about for your own subject, one project in one term, like it was in CCE, right? And you can use this as something like subject enrichment. So you can assess the students in subject enrichment over there. So you don't have to increase the number of it. You don't have to increase the quantity. Rather, enhance the quality of your project-based learning. Because what is the idea? Idea is that the students should be able to enhance their skill of probing, of inquiring, of researching, of collaborating, of communicating their ideas, of designing things. So they don't have to do it too many as such. So let it be limited. Okay. And also it is better that if you can have more than one subjects put together. So that will be the best thing to do. If you can collaborate with at least one or two different subjects, that will be really nice. Okay, so did I answer? And then there was another question, which was that how do we do this while in the online thing, right? Now, how can we do it in the online thing? Again, it's easy, not very difficult to do. What you have to do is you have to tell, first of all, your entry event. It can always be done online. You can have your entry event designed very nicely in the form of a PPT or a video, whichever way you want, and open up the brainstorming. If you are using Google Meets or Zoom or anything, you do have breakout rooms wherein you can put the children into groups and you can ask them to discuss and come. Or else, you can introduce your entry event to them in the form of a WhatsApp thing. Give them a trigger and put it in the WhatsApp as well. So it's an asynchronous resource which you're sending it to them and asking them to think about it. You can always create the groups and say that this group will come together, discuss, and then while we meet next, you are supposed to be coming up with your ideas. So this is something which you can tell them. Depends upon how would you like to do it. You can always do. So you can design your entry event while the children are there with you. They are thinking, they can also frame their questions which are there. If you have already formed the groups, and I'll be talking about the groups, if you have already formed your groups, now you have to teach your children that how do you work collaboratively in groups even when you are not meeting physically, right? So when they are, so in groups, there will be maybe 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 people in a group. Don't make very big groups, right? Now, if they have to share documents with each other, ask them to use your Google Docs and Google Sheets and things, because then they can share it with their group members and all the group members can work upon the same product. And if they have to talk to each other, they can always get into a con call, or they can get into or create a Zoom meeting and then talk to each other. Okay, so that's upon them. So collaboration online is also possible. So doing your PBL online is also not very difficult. And then you can always ask your students to keep posting about wherever they have reached, whatever they have done. And I'll also tell you towards the end about the digital portfolio, right? So that will also help you in carrying out your PBL work. The students can keep you, you as a teacher, all the groups can share their documents with you also. So you'll be the common person who will be in all the groups, and you will be able to see what the groups are actually working at. Okay, so this way you can manage it online also. Who had asked this question? I just want to know if there is more, something more you want to ask related to this.
Amit Kaur, ma'am. I had asked.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you.
you got the answer. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now let's see what are the various challenges which you will face while you are doing this. The first challenge here is about the group dynamics, and this I think you must be facing quite a lot. Some students do most of the work, or some of the one or two students may refuse to do the work. This may happen. Or while you're making the group, some of the members would be unhappy about the other group members, because they feel that they are not going to do any work, and because of them their grades will fall, or those children have less skills and therefore their grades will fall. So all of this could be the challenges while the groups are working together, right? Now, so there are 3 strategies which you can follow for the students to support in their group work. First thing is that you have to establish the guidelines, which includes the roles and responsibilities. Okay, so that's something which or you can ask your students themselves to create the roles and responsibilities working together. Then the second thing is you have to provide them with the criteria, or if you have to provide them with some checklist for each role. So if this person's role is this, what is the checklist? What are the things which the person should be doing? And always before providing, let the children work upon that, what they think should be the checklist. Okay, and then you already have a checklist. If there's something which is missing, you can provide them. When they work on the checklist, they are also going through the process. Okay, and then you have to coach your students on how to collaborate. Ms. Pratibha is raising the hand. Pratibha ji, you have to ask something. You can ask, no problem. Please ask.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Actually, the voice is breaking. I wanted to just know whether it's a problem at my end, or
is it my voice?
may I just come back again, ma'am? I think
yes,
there is
yes,
some problem at my end.
Yeah, you can do that. Just a second. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, so you have to be teaching your students on how to collaborate. So take up a separate session on how collaboration should be there. What are the things which students should consider? Give a leeway. So that's important. If we teach them this, you'll find that the groups will be working in a smoother manner, right? Now, furthermore, now what are the solutions? Because sometimes the students feel that, okay, these are the weak ones of our group, and because of them we are going to be losing grades and things. So what you can also do is that all the graded things, all the graded stuff, try to keep it for the individual tasks. Okay, and for the group work, don't give the tasks. You can give them feedbacks or word, some certain remarks. That is possible, but then don't put the grades out there for the group work, in case if you feel that the groups are having this kind of a problem. And then so the team will be working towards collecting the data, analyzing them, but each one of them will do their own individual assignment. So, and on which the grades are fixed. Okay. So that's something which wherein the collaboration is also happening, but that's not affecting the students' grade. So
can you please repeat this part again? I mean, I just missed that. Yeah.
The thing is that if suppose in a group there are some children who feel that these students are very weak, and because of them we are going to lose our grades. So don't put individual work. So what they're doing is, it's the group which is collaborating, bringing in data, analyzing and doing things, but the grades depend upon what is that individual thing which the students are doing. Okay, some individual assignments which you created or the children are doing, it depends, the grades should be depending upon that. But that is something which you use only if you're finding challenges in the group work. If you're not finding challenges in the group work and the groups are fine with each other, then it's okay. Then you need not take up this as a solution. Now, there is another important thing, that the children may not be interested in doing it. Simply, there is a lack of interest and the children don't have a buy-in, right? So, the important thing over here is that when we are going in for PBL, you have to see that they are doing something which they feel is meaningful, which they feel is valued, which you feel that each and everyone will enjoy. So, जब आप PBL का question ढूंढो, तो वो question ऐसा होना चाहिए which would interest almost everyone. If it is meaningful for them, they will definitely want to do it. Okay. So therefore, lack of student engagement is something which can be taken care of like that. Another challenge which you might face is that they are not active learners. Most of the time, because of all the years that they've been taught that way, they're passive learners. So suddenly you want them to become active, there will be a resistance, right? So you have to, kind of coach them or teach them to get into active learning, to do some independent work, to do some group work. That is something which will be required in case your students are not in a habit of it. Also, the children will be interested when they know that they are going to present their work to a live audience. Whatever work they are doing will be used by somebody. Whatever solutions they are creating is going to be used by them. And when the people come to them, they listen to their ideas, you will find that they'll feel happy about it. So therefore, the lack of interest is something which can be tackled with that. If you would have seen some of the videos, there were live clients over there. Some parents, where the financial planning was going on, there were people to whom that particular project would help, right? So when you have those people, whatever work I am doing, if it is useful for someone, I would be interested in doing it and presenting it. So it's another important aspect which you can look into, so that the students do not feel demotivated, right? Okay, so that's about the challenges. Another thing which you have to look at is, how do you differentiate? Because again, the problem would be that you have all different kind of learners over here. So how do you differentiate in a PBL classroom? So depends again upon your project. How do you want to put the grouping? Most of the time, make a mixed ability group. But sometimes, suppose you're doing a language project, and in a language project, you're doing some kind of a reading thing. So when you have learners who are at different levels of reading, some of them are advanced readers, some of them are at the middle level. So then make the ability grouping. Put all the advanced together, put the middle ones together, and the ones who struggle in reading or not too interested, put them together. And so you can differentiate on the task. You are making ability groups. But in other cases where you feel that different talents have to come together, then you can make a homogeneous group, a mixed ability group. So this is one way that you can differentiate. The second way that you can differentiate is that you can let the children work on the basis of their choice and interest. Okay. So if suppose you've given a project and I would like to come up with a video, because I love to create video, or I want to come out with a skit based on that, or I would like to create some comical strips. So it depends upon how do I want to present my work. And these are some of the examples. So if you can give them choices based upon their interest, then support. So there could be some children who need some support. So your additional resources. So that's what I said. You should be ready with your resources. So as and when the students need some kind of a resource, you are able to give them those resources and support them with that. And also you can differentiate based on the formative assessments. You can have different kind of formative assessments for different students, right? Also try to have a balance of the teamwork and individual work. This is important while you're doing project-based learning, because children are supposed to be doing certain things individually and certain things in group. Both the things are required. So that's an integral part of while you're planning your PBL. And also, putting reflections in your project at the very critical points, which means that the children are reflecting on at every stage. Where have I reached? What have I done till now? What are more the things which have to be done? Am I proceeding in the right direction? So these are reflections, individual reflections, group reflections. So let them reflect upon their progress in the project. This is very important. So don't miss out on this reflection part, right? So because when the reflections will be going on, some children who are struggling, some who need some kind of a help, the help will be given there itself, because they're reflecting and they're able to identify where the problem lies, right? So therefore, these are some of the things which you need to take care while you are doing your PBL, and when you differentiate and you will do this, integrate these kind of instructions, you will find all your learners, kind of feeling comfortable and easy to move ahead, and they'll be motivated as well. Now, next comes, how is it that you can integrate it in your digital portfolios? Okay, if you have already seen the video which I have sent you, you would know that in the Google itself, you would be able to create your portfolio. In the portfolios, you can create certain pages. So now, how is it that the students can create their portfolio or integrate their project work in the portfolios? Two ways. One is they can integrate it in your own subject. So suppose if it's a physics related project or a science related project, within science page, they can put that as a project, or they can create a separate tab, the main tab, as project. Okay. So when they're creating a main tab as a project, so then they have a complete page to them, so they can introduce the idea of the project. How did they go about working? In fact, when you go to the website of PBL Works, there are formats which are provided to you, that how should the children be writing their pre-project summary, how should they be writing the post-project summary. There are formats and there are guidelines which are given for that, right? So what you can ask your children to do is that once they have finished their project, once everything is done, then let them put the project pieces together. And you know that in the digital portfolio, in every page, they have got the provision of attaching the images, attaching the videos, attaching anything in the Google Drive which they have. They can share that link and it will come up over there. They can upload any of the images, as I said, any Word document which is there with them. So all of that work, any video which they've created, all of that work will be displayed on that particular page. They can also put up your comments over there. They can also put up their reflections over there. They can put up post-project summary there. They can also put up the feedback which has been given by the live audience to whom they presented their solution or the product, right? So all of those things can be put up in the project which the children are doing. And let me tell you one thing. Please be very serious about creating these digital portfolios for your students, because these portfolios will be helping them further in their college admissions as well. They can always show these portfolios to that we worked upon this, we worked upon this. As it is, they're going to be honing their skills and they'll become much, much better at what they're doing in their skills. But this is a live testimony of that they have been involved into active learning, into problem solving, and further, this is going to really help them. So let them have their portfolios created digitally so that they don't have to really bother about. I don't think hard copy portfolios are really required. So you should always go in for creating digital portfolios. You as a teacher can put in your remarks on their digital portfolios. That's also possible. So all of this is possible while you are making your children work on digital portfolio. They can integrate that as well. Okay. Now, another important aspect which we need to know is about the assessments. How do we do the assessments? How do we integrate assessments there? So you have to think about two things. What are my knowledge-based objectives? So you look at your objectives. When you're looking at your objectives, you see that, okay, these are the knowledge-based objectives. If I need to check upon how much my children know about these particular things, what is that which I ask my children to do? Is it some kind of a pen paper thing you want them to do? If you want them to create something and then assess them, so it depends upon you. but you have to choose some of the formative assessments based on the knowledge aspect of it, your cognitive objectives, right? And then the next would be based upon the skills. So based on whatever skills they are acquiring, what kind of a formative assessment would you like to keep? So while you're designing your formative assessments, it could be in the form of simple MCQs or short answer or open-ended reflective type questions. Then for skills, what you can do is you can ask the children to do self-assessment. You give them some questions and then they're doing self-assessment. That's the best when it comes to skills. When it comes to performances, if they're doing some kind of a performance, then let there be self-assessment and peer assessment and provide them the rubric beforehand. If it's the product which is being presented, then it should be the teacher assessment as well, based on rubrics. It could be viva, it could be a short conversation with the students who are presenting it. Also, you can add the audience feedback into it. Again, self and peer assessment into it. So while you're doing your assessment of PBL, you have to look at which place do I want to have a small assessment with the students and then integrate the assessments. But important is that you have to see your learning objectives, the skills which you are aiming at, and then your assessments should be based on that. So that's another important thing. Okay. Before I discuss I think I should discuss these project ideas beforehand. See, some of the project ideas, as I said, that towards the end I'll tell you some of the questions. Like for KG students, the question could be that how can we make all members of our family sit together for an hour without the use of any gadgets? Okay, now that's one of the challenging questions for them, and this is the one which I have worked out in detail, and I'll share it with you. Okay. Questions for 1 to 2 could be that how can we ensure our school students' dental health? So you are expanding it and you're making it for the entire school and they have to work towards the dental health, right? So how do we make it? For 3rd to 5, it could be how can we reduce discrimination in our society? There's a huge amount of work which can be done in with this question. For class 6 to 8, it could be how can India's rich and varied culture be presented to the world, which also results in increased revenue for the country. Okay, so again, you can integrate a lot of subjects here. 9th, 10th, it could be how to prepare for new age careers. All right. Then for languages, we can have how can we make our community safe from natural hazards? Or how can love for language be increased in youth? What does it take to be a novelist? And these questions, and these are some small questions, but when you start exploring, it will just become endless. And there are so many things which can be worked into it. For mathematics, it could be, how do I know if a given PC is a good purchase? How can we generate funding for class welfare activities? And what is the financial plan for it? What are the similarities and differences in the structures of various monuments? Okay. Some more questions for social science, like how good are advertisements for economy? Or you can maybe change the question a little more and make it bigger. The scope could be more. How can Indo-China LAC issue be resolved? So that's another big thing, which can include history, it can include geography, it can include economics, and languages, of course, and so many other things can be there in this. Then India gets flooded during monsoons. What can we do to improve the situation? Computers, it could be how can we create an app which facilitates resource management of home? Whatever resources are needed in the home on an everyday basis, every month, what kind of a app, how can we create an app so that it becomes easy for us to manage the resources? Okay. For science, it could be how to create a good kitchen garden in an area of 20 feet by 10 feet. Again, you think about what all different research is needed, what questions are there, how, and so much of science is included into this. Mathematics as well. Biological warfare, how dangerous? How can this be eliminated? Okay, so we are now talking about not nuclear warfare, we are talking about biological warfare, right? So again, it's So that's again very relevant question, very, very relevant. And these days you can see it is related. I've not touched Corona because I know Corona is something, another thing which a good project can be worked upon. Okay, now let's, I'll just tell you about KG thing that how can we make all members, and these are kindergarten students, remember, they're not able to read on their own, they're not able to write on their own. So considering this is the context of our students, right? Considering this, how do we still get them into PBL? Okay. So question here is, how can we make all members of our family sit together for an hour without the use of any gadgets? So the entry event could be, you use a picture of a house where all members are sitting together, but each one of them is busy with their device. Everybody, so ऐसे बहुत सारे pictures मिल जाएंगे. So you can just put those pictures out there, or you can create a video on that and then let the students watch it. And once they have watched it, then let them, come up with what they have seen, what they have observed, and so they start a conversation around that. Now, once they have done it, the second thing is about what? Need to knows. What are those things which I need to know so that I can come to the solution to this problem? Okay. So let them work on how each member is spending their day. So the questions will be, first we should know that how is each member of our family spending the day, morning and afternoon and evening and night, what are the things which each member is doing. So that is what each child is, and it's all verbal. So they're going to be talking to their family members, seeing as to what and how they are spending their time, right? And then for this, they can always go in for some kind of an audio recording to note down the sequence of the work which each family member is doing. Again, this is just raw thoughts which I am giving you, and I'm sure that there's much more which can be done in this. And then interview each member to find out what time can he or she take out where there is no digital device being used. Okay. So that's another thing. So let's interview and find out when is it possible. Then they have to discuss. There are children who are there in the groups. In case of KG, of course, you will expect some part of help from the parents, right? So you can group 3 to 4 children together, wherein there is one parent or somebody who takes the initiative and lead to put these children together online, and where they are discussing. So they will discuss with the group members as to what could be the various tasks which the family members can do together. So now that they are sitting together, they also have to think ki karenge kya? Right? Without the device, what are those things which they can do? So let them enlist as to, okay, together, what is that which will entertain everybody and that will be enriching for everyone? So what are those things which can be done? So let them list down those. Then they can, this list can be made with the help of a sibling or a parent. And then they have to sit down with their family and discuss, bringing them to agreement on the time and task. Okay, what time is to be, they have to sit together, and what tasks are we supposed to be doing. They can also say that, okay, Monday this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, like that also it is possible. Now what they also have to work upon is how to create interesting reminders for the family members. Okay, you need to remind the family members, okay, now this time is there and this is how. So you have to think about creative ways how to remind them about that. And also let them work upon the calendar to see whether how much is it being followed. आज follow हुआ, कल नहीं follow हुआ, परसों follow हुआ, इस member ने follow नहीं किया. So let them keep a maybe just give them provide a small calendar and let them put a tick, and different codes could be there, partially followed, fully followed, not followed. So that will let them manage the data with them. And then after 15 days, they are interviewing the family members, and they're doing some kind of a video recording that how are they feeling after 15 days of this recreational time with the family without any digital device, right? And then where is it to be presented? Now these videos that the children have created, where will it be presented? It can be presented on the school's Facebook page. It could be also on the website, or it could be presented on the live PTM. It depends upon, you have to see where you will get the audience for this, and audience definitely have to be parents over here. Or you can put it up on some of the parent forums where only parents are there, and that will be something which will catch their attention that okay, this is some time. So what I'm trying to tell you over here is that this is how you can work about it. This small structure. Then what are the various skills? The skills are interviewing skills, you doing the audio and video recording. Let the children do it. They are digital natives. They will be able to handle this. Okay, so let them do it. Let the parents tell them. Parents should help them out, but they should let the children do it. Then another skill is seeking help from siblings and parents, asking for help. Discussions in groups for solutions. So communication is there, critical thinking is there. Maintaining a calendar, so your data keeping, presentation skills. There will definitely be some kind of a new vocabulary that they will be adding to themselves. So there's vocabulary enhancement. What are the learning outcomes? Students would be able to learn the value of time which is spent together fruitfully with family members, critically analyze the problem. And so these are some of the learning objectives. Creatively think of the solutions, manage and analyze data, able to frame their questions for the interview, learn to do audio and video recording. Children will learn about following new vocabulary words. They will reflect on their journey during the project and so on. Okay, so this is just one idea that I have presented. Now the second thing which I also wanted to discuss with you all, but in this I wanted your inputs, but I'll just open the topic to you. This is for middle school. How to find out that the purchase of a PC or a mobile or a car is good enough? Now that's your question. It's very relevant. It is absolutely meaningful, but there is so much which a person has to do to in this to get an answer to this, right? Now you can include mathematics here, you can include languages here, you can include social science here, science, computer, art, craft, theater, music. There could be any of these things which can be incorporated for this particular question, right? Now, I will, before I open this for you, I definitely would like to take some questions. There is a poll, one question only which I'll take, but that's only towards the end. We've got 5 minutes in our hand, but I can extend it in case if everybody is agreeable to it. I will take open for 5 to 7 minutes for question answers, and then this particular question, what I wanted was that if you can think for 5 minutes, put down your ideas on the pen and paper. That's why I said that you put it on pen and paper. Think only from a perspective of your subject. Don't think from the perspective of any other subject. Your subject. From your subject perspective, what all things do you think you would do? What do you think would be in an entry event? How do you think? What all things will the children do? Or what are the learning objectives? Okay. So you have to just pen down that, and once you have penned it down, click a picture of it and upload it on that learning wall. I'll clear out the learning wall so that it's absolutely good for you to start using. Right. So you have to upload that picture there so that even when our session ends, we will be able to visit this and see it from the perspective of all the different subjects that how can we work upon a project. So this will be our extension. Even beyond our webinar, we will be able to discuss about this project. Okay. So before I ask you all to start working upon it, I would like to open this for question answers, because this is the last thing which I wanted to do. Now, if there are your questions, please ask. Any questions with anyone?
I was just wondering that, as you already know, the Indian system of assessment and the marks, the way they are decided, you have a written paper and then you have 20 marks, practical or something, especially in the senior department. Where do we put all, the project-based assessments, into which category? Where do we put it,
You can put it in the subject enrichment activities. You can put it in, over there, And yeah, so you have got 5 marks for subject enrichment, it can be put over there. And also we have to let the children understand, if you see the new NEP, which says that class 6 to 8 have to undergo extensive project on languages, right? And that will not be for assessment. So there could be, you can do certain things just to enhance their skills, real 21st century skills, and let that not be there for assessment, So assessment sometimes we keep so that there is a bit of seriousness also and focus and orientation. So you can always say that, okay, the subject enrichment is, whatever work you're doing will be counting towards subject enrichment. So that could be one of the things. Otherwise, you can, if your children are self-motivated enough, you can always do, need not put any marks there. Say that this will enrich your portfolio. And you can also say that this particular work that you're doing, towards the end, when we are considering various things about you, we will keep this portfolio of a project in mind. When you're thinking about students' promotion, giving time to give them, you can also give them some, design some certificates for them.
Yes, and under, yeah.
Yeah, that will also
Thank
be good for them. Okay. All right. Any other question? No question coming in is very dangerous. Sorry, I'm feeling a little nervous now.
No, it's actually very well taught.
Okay, it's difficult to believe that, you see. Thank you, Shruti ji. But yeah. So okay, so what we'll do now is I'll just open the poll, and then we will work upon simultaneously work on this project. I want all of you to spend right now, because it is fresh. Spend 5 to 7 minutes on your pen and paper and jot down what do you think with respect to your subject you will do with this topic. Okay. I just opened the poll. We'll just do this. And also let me share important information after this poll. Okay. So I've launched the poll. The question here is, how confident do you feel with creating your own PBL model? And there are 5 questions. You have to choose options. You have to choose just one.
Do we need to share our, you know what, or just assess for ourselves?
No, this I'm getting it already. So I'm not getting it with respect to each person with the name, but I'm getting the result. I'll share the result also with everyone. It's a poll, so I can share the result as well. Right now, it's 46% voting which has been done. I'm just waiting. The poll also tells, you know, how many are awake and how many want to sleep. It's 29 people who have put it as of now. 53% voting.
Ma'am, it's showing that it's error submitting. Though I submitted, but it is not submitted.
Try it again. Try it again.
I'm not seeing that poll now.
Okay, so then it is submitted. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I've got 69% of polling done, 71%, 40 people have done out of 56 here. Now ending the poll. I'm ending it now. Okay. And I'll share the results with you. 3 people are very confident about it, and they actually knew a lot about it already. So that's great. There are 15 who say confident, and I feel I can create good projects. That's lovely. There are 55% who are fairly confident, and they need to do it first and figure out some of the challenges which are there. Absolutely acceptable. And there is 0%. Nobody is feeling shaky and nobody is not confident. So therefore, that's absolutely lovely. And now, let me share this information to you that on the WhatsApp group itself, I am going to share some PDFs which you can begin with, right? In the sense that this is a PDF which is an assessment map, that how should you be putting in your assessments in the PBL. So there are like 3 different summative assessments you can have based on the knowledge, understanding and skills. And these summative assessments could be the total of your formative assessments, and each of them could have 3 formative assessments here. Just a rough example of how it should be. Then there is another which says that how should you start an entry event, how should you launch your project, how should you build the knowledge in it, and how should you develop and critique it, and how to present it. So in this, again, I have taken it from your that website itself. So you have all of those things in the website. Another very good thing which you should definitely have is the essential project design element checklist. You as a teacher have to definitely check whether you all of these project design elements are there in your project model or not. Okay, so that's important. So I'll be sharing these PDFs also with you. Along with this, I'm also going to share the feedback form. Please definitely fill the feedback form, because only after I receive your feedback form, the certificates will be issued, and all your certificates will be issued on Monday. Also, please fill your feedback forms very carefully, your name, school name, because that will be exactly shown in your certificate, the way you fill it. Okay, so please see that there is no error in it. Okay, so that's important for you to know. All right, so I've shared all important information. Now we'll spend some time. Yes, Tapti ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, can we get all this point? Last time you have sent when we have attend your NEP, this point we'll get it.
I will send you this PPT, the PDF.
Yeah,
of this
because
PPT.
in between 2 times my electricity has gone.
No problem. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I missed it because this is very good. I think we must talk to all the teacher and they should follow and very good things. But I think I missed 2-3 points.
No problem.
Thank you.
Right. Another. Okay. So now it's open for you. We are not going anywhere. All of us are together right now for another 5 to 7 minutes, which I'm giving you to think individually on this particular topic, and think what can you do for your own subject. And please think it that way. What do you think would be the entry event? How are you going to incorporate and export into it? What kind of different products that the children would be designing? So on those lines, right? So just think and write it on the through pen and paper. Click the picture, upload it on the learning wall. Okay. Once you click on the learning wall, there will be a place at the bottom. You'll find there is an upload button. From there, it will directly take you to your camera or to the photo section, and you can upload it. Okay. So please do it. Or if you want to directly write it on the learning wall, that is also okay. Also, for all those who have to leave and they would not want to do it right away, you can leave. There is no problem, because this learning wall will be available. I'm not going to clear it for everybody. You can always click on the link and see what the others have contributed, right? Those who want to stay with me can stay. Those who want to leave can leave, because I have kind of finished with the session. Okay, and I will be sharing the feedback form once I end this webinar.
Ma'am, where can we find this learning wall link?
It's there in the WhatsApp group only. The, initially, when you had contributed. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait. Should I share it again? I'll share it with you all again, okay, so that you don't find it difficult. Shared it.
And madam, that feedback form link from where we will get?
In the WhatsApp group only, which I'll share after 15 minutes. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
Can you show us the question once again? You know,
Oh, yes, yes,
yeah.
yes, please. I'll you can take up any one of the product there and see that how can you link your subject to it. So I'll give you some examples, like the science people can look at from the health perspective. The social science people can look at from the perspective of the cost and the features and things related to that. The maths people will definitely be looking into a lot of data which is related to comparing the various features and the cost and things. So a lot of data analysis will be coming up there. Just giving you a very, very broad idea of what all can be done related to the subjects. Languages can be about that the children, when they choose that, okay, this one is the one which is the best to purchase, how would they do a persuasive writing towards selling off this particular thing to the clients or the customers, if they feel that this is the best purchase. So persuasive writing or creating something which will entice the customers to come and purchase, that could be one, which is linked to language as well as social science. Just giving some examples.
How to upload the pic in the Padlet?
Just click the picture. When you go on the Padlet, click on the plus button there. You will find at the bottom there are number of different icons which will be coming in. I'll just show you in case if I can put a screenshot of it. So once you click on the bottom ones, there will be one which has an upload thing, which has an arrow, you know, rectangular box and an arrow up there. When you click on that, it will open your gallery or your camera. You can just click a picture and it will get uploaded.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, I'll just send the screenshot to the group so that they know how it has to be done. Just give me a second, please. Just 1 second. See, I've sent you a screenshot there in the WhatsApp group. If you click on this, click on the full image, you will find at the bottom there is the upload button, link, search and so on, camera, right? So that will help you. Okay, somebody was asking me. Who was asking me the question?
Yeah, I was asking you a question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, my question is to do with this, the product and the outcome of the project-based learning. I mean, maybe it's my inferences that is slightly, skewed, but I'm wondering that should the product have some social validity or some kind of, value addition to the systems? Can it be in itself just probably a, survey or some trend or something without, you know, a, what do you say, a palpable or some kind of a product?
So the thing is, it need not be a product in terms of a 3D thing. It could be your some solution which is coming, some idea which is there. So it could be, say for example, in the finance thing, it was a financial plan for the client which was there, but it has to be useful for somebody. That's important. Okay, so we have to see that whatever final outcome is there is meaningful and is useful for some or the other person or an organization, anybody or anything for that matter. It should be a meaningful production. That's important.
Right. The addition could, be also in terms of, the value it brings. For example, there are happiness projects, there are happiness videos or something like that, which is more in terms of value, not in terms of solution provider. So I guess that's also good enough.
Yeah, value. It's a huge solution, Namrata. In case if you're thinking in that form, if you're able to provide somebody a solution to happiness, I mean, in the sense because everyone is looking for happiness. So if you're able to do that, that's a huge value addition to anybody for that matter. So it's hugely meaningful.
Yeah, that was I meant. Like product could be a value also.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So what I'll do is let me see in case if there is something which has come up. Oh wow! Amazing. Nusrat, PowerPoint presentation can be prepared by students related to the topic. They will make.
मीटिंग चल रही है, बाद में बात करूंगी.
मोनिका जी, मैं थोड़े परेशान हो गई हूँ. आपको कई बार बोल चुकी हूँ कि please keep yourself muted. I have muted you every time. Please see that you're muted. In PPT, they will insert there. The PPT will explain about the effects of using these gadgets continuously and how can we maintain our health. Okay. Nusrat, you're looking from which perspective? Are you science? Is it?
Ma'am, science, yeah. Yeah, science, ma'am.
So इसमें थोड़ा सा और सोचने की जरूरत है. Like आप क्या entry event डालोगे इसमें? How would you introduce this PBL project to them? Who is the expert that you will be bringing in? ये भी सोचो कि कहाँ पे और किस stage में हम expert लेके आएंगे. Okay. And creating this PPT, who would be helped out?
That what are the harmful effects of using these gadgets continuously? Yeah.
So ये किसके लिए useful है? कौन आपका live audience कौन होगा? है ना? So you have to think about whom will they present it and for whom will it be useful. So think from those perspectives, right? Very nice. In such a short period of time that you've come out with this. Cost of the car, budget, whether it is whether it's profitable in a family, suppose 2 or 3 persons are earning. Okay, so you are also looking into, so these are need to knows. These are need to knows. What are the various things which they're supposed to be working upon? Okay, all right. Now, when you are working, I'm so happy and I'll look at this and all of you can also look at each other's suggestion because now this learning wall is there. Namrata has come up with a lot of points here. I'll look at all of these points in detail. There are objectives. Achha, she has written the objectives to begin with. Okay, and you wish watch IOL on a bigger screen, but you have a small screen television at home. Talk to your siblings, cousins, and friends. Record their views, compile them, and write a short survey report coming to the conclusion whether it should be bought. Okay, all right. Yeah, correct. So, यहाँ पे because this is a very short time which I'm giving you, it's 0.1% of the time which you should actually invest into PBL. Think about entry, think about various need to knows, but that will be for yourself because you will then be able to facilitate conversations among students. Think about the expert. Think about who is the audience who would be coming for your, students, and what kind of different products that the children can create. Okay, and what are your learning objectives? When you are thinking about then these design elements, think about those. Okay, who would be the expert in this case? हम कौन से expert को बुला सकते हैं? Let's just see. In case we are talking about from the science perspective, we can bring in some medical practitioner over here who can talk about the harmful effects of mobile phones or PC or car or the dangerous things which are there related to the health or what various things one should take care of so that these things can be used without any health hazards, right? Similarly, when you're talking about economics or social science, you can bring in some financial planner or maybe somebody who talks about the features of that. ऐसे बहुत सारे shows होते हैं जहाँ पे कि tech there are tech gurus and things, so you can invite those people there. You can invite people who are into creating advertisements, and then they will be able to tell as to how is it that the advertisements play on the people's mind and they are influential towards purchasing a particular product. So depending upon which subject it is, you can bring in your different experts, but do bring in experts and think about your live audience. All right. Okay. We will be, thinking about this is going on, and I will have this group on for 6 days. So you can please keep asking questions or whatever you are thinking about it. This will go on for 1 week, and then I'll dissolve the group. But with this, I would like to end the webinar. In case if there is any questions now, otherwise I would like to formally thank everyone. If there is any question, please ask. Else I will end the session. Moshina, for giving a thumbs up. Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody. I don't see that there is any question which is coming up. So let me just thank all of you for participating so well in everything which I asked you all to do. I'm so happy to see this learning wall. It's so beautifully being a lot of contributions which are coming from you all. Thank you so much. I hope that the learning objectives which we had kept for the session to some extent have been fulfilled. I'll be sending across the feedback forms. Do fill it. And thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll be now ending the meeting.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. We'll further continue our chat on the WhatsApp group. Okay. So we are ending the webinar here, but we will still be in touch. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.